End of an era for Iron Maiden, AC/DC continue their fairytale, and one metal show turns everything upside down and causes a real scandal.
How we doing?
Metal is alive and well, so let's see what keeps it going today. Here you go. AC/DC Power Up! This week, the legendary Australian act AC/DC finally announced something that we've all been anticipating and waiting for, a continuation of their Power Up tour for next year. So in 2025, AC/DC will finally return to the United States and Canada for the very first time with a proper tour in over 9 years, commencing the run on April 10th in Minneapolis and ending it on May 28th with a show in Cleveland, Ohio at Huntington Bank Stadium, overall giving 13 concerts during that run, all of which will of course take place at massive stadiums. Although the band did not specify anything about the show and the production with which they will hit the stages of North America next year, I'm actually 100% sure that this will be pretty much exactly the same show and production and even the same set list as we've seen AC/DC do this year. And this in no way is a bad thing. Because talking about set list, for example, this is pretty much exactly what we've all been expecting AC/DC to play and pretty much exactly what we all want to hear. So the only questions remaining at this point is how quickly the tickets will get sold out. Just as a reminder, for the shows in Europe this year, AC/DC were able to sell more than 1 million tickets in just about 24 hours.
Give me a hell yeah!
And B, whether AC/DC will make this Power Up tour a truly world run. Visit in Latin America, Asia, and possibly hitting their home turf, Australia, sometime next year or in 2026. As although of course this band has fans pretty much all across the world, but with all due respect to, North American and European fans, including myself, let's not forget that there is simply a cult of AC/DC in Latin America. And I can't even imagine the madness which will take place somewhere in Buenos Aires, for example, when those guys get to hear Thunderstruck live one more time. Oh, and of course, another question is whether AC/DC will actually record the show and issue it as a live DVD sometime in the future. As although, of course, no one can actually perform on the same level in their 60s and 70s as they did back in their 20s, but at least in my opinion, the whole fact that we get to see AC/DC live up on stage one more time in 2024 and 2025 is a miracle by itself already.
This is all I got!
And having some kind of footage from it is pretty much a must. And here, guys, I simply have to state a very sad statistics that only around 30% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed to the Metal Pilgrim channel. So if by any chance you still haven't done so yet, and especially if this is not the first video you're watching on the show, I would really appreciate it if you would consider doing it right now. Let's continue building this amazing heavy metal community together. Metal diapers. This week, a popular metal brand, Liquid Death, announced something which they themselves call the greatest accessory for all concert goers around the world. Pit diapers, designed specifically for metalheads. The Pit diaper locks away recycled liquid death and helps neutralize odors instantly, so you never have to leave the pit, miss your favorite song, or worry about leaks ever again. Ew! The sleek design of this diaper for men features premium, cruelty-free quilted pleather, accented with chains and spikes to seamlessly blend into any outfit. What do you mean I'm making this up? This is real news!
Now, thanks to the Pit diaper, you can rock out with your in.
Well, apparently this Pit diaper costs $75 and is super exclusive and limited edition and all that. And here's the thing, I actually do agree that going to the bathrooms at metal shows is just a special level of masochism. But still, Pit diaper? Come on! Although I guess, yeah, most of us understand that this is just a joke or a marketing trick to sell more liquid death beverages around the world. But still, come on, is this what marketing is nowadays? Ew. And then in the next video you see me promoting this product. This video is sponsored by Pit Diaper. Yeah, we'll see.
I can't take it anymore.
And here guys, I have to state that Christmas is pretty much almost here. So now would be the best possible time to purchase some, you know, Christmassy heavy metal merch from Metal Pilgrim if you still haven't done so. So if you would like to rock out some Metal Pilgrim merch this holiday season or your next metal show and support this community, just know that I'll be more than happy to send it pretty much anywhere across the world, and you can of course order it via the link in the description to this video. And just in case if you decide to do that, I just want to say thank you guys so much, because this show exists thanks to all the patrons and all those who purchase Metal Pilgrim merch. Sick New World Fiasco. This week, one of the most anticipated metal events of 2025, the third edition of the Sick New World Festival, has sadly gotten cancelled, which happened just a couple of weeks after they have announced an insane lineup for next year. Because just as a reminder, the headliners for the festival were supposed to be Metallica and Linkin Park, but it also included gazillion other incredible bands, including Mastodon, Gojira, Evanescence, the Acid Bath reunion, and, you know, a lot of others. Actually, there were so many that Arch Enemy were written in small print somewhere in the bottom of it. Now, according to the organizers, the festival was cancelled due to unforeseen circumstances, which is a usual excuse for canceling pretty much anything, but we can actually do some math real quick. Now, a couple of days before the cancellation, the news appeared that both Metallica and Linkin Park were supposed to receive $5 million each for performing at Sick New World next year. That's $10 million without counting any other of the bands.
Oh, that's a lot of money, eh?
And according to some sources, only around 20,000 tickets were sold in the first couple of weeks, which if we multiply by $472, the average price of a ticket for Sick New World 2025, we'll see that the organizers could not even cover the expenses they would spend on just the two headliners. Once again, not counting any other of the bands. But the craziest thing, at least for me, was the whole fact that all of these bands were actually smushed in just one day of a festival, which, if you think about it, is very strange, because most of us metalheads go to festivals to enjoy the experience, you know, and it usually is supposed to last for at least 2 to 3 days. And if all of those announced bands are scheduled to perform in the same day, the chances you're going to see at least half of them are pretty close to zero, which is not something metalheads usually want. And in addition to that, the craziest thing is that both Metallica and Linkin Park, as well as most of the other bands in the bill, were actually supposed to tour the United States in 2025 either way. So I assume quite a lot of people simply thought, hey, why would I pay almost $500 for a ticket at a festival on which I'm going to see just a couple of bands either way if I can actually see those same bands for half the price a week later in my hometown? And I wouldn't even have to drive to Las Vegas. So yeah, in all honesty, it's rather sad that the third edition of Sick New World is getting cancelled, because this festival actually had all the chances to become one of the biggest metal festivals of the United States. But I truly hope that the organizers will do some homework and come back stronger and more tailored to metalhead community next time. Hopefully in 2026. And next time do something which will actually suit both the bands and the fans themselves. By the way, what do you guys personally think about one-day festivals? Do you usually go to those, or do you prefer, if you do go to a festival, for it to last at least couple to 3 days? Or do you try to skip festivals whatsoever and attend only headline shows by your favorite bands? Please let us know in the comments. I'm actually really curious to find out, because the thing is, I love festivals, but I love them not as much for the music, but for the experience that you get while going to those and rocking out to your favorite music with your fellow metal family for at least a couple of days. Manowar at home. The truest of the true metal warriors of the world, the legendary Manowar, have finally returned home, given the one and only concert in the United States. At that exclusive US concert, Manowar have given their loyal fans in the United States pretty much exactly what those have been waiting for, a taste of very classic Manowar show, with a setlist comprised of the biggest hits presented in front of a, of course, sold-out crowd, which, according to Joey DeMaio, there were Manowar warriors present from 48 different states of the United States of America, as well as gazillion other countries, which, if you think about it, is pretty understandable, since Manowar is one of the only American legacy bands who have always been much more popular abroad than they were at home. And given the fact that their previous American tour, announced back in 2014, had to be cancelled, this was a pretty special show for all of the die-hard Manowar fans, who were super happy that Manowar finally found some time amidst their busy international touring schedule, and in between some time they want to spend in the studio this year for that one show. Which, by the way, might actually be even better news for all the Manowar fans, since the only thing Manowar has not done for longer than performed in the United States was releasing a proper album, as their previous LP was released all the way back in 2012, which, come on, everyone can agree is too much even for the most legendary bands. But overall, I gotta say that Manowar is one of those bands that just is there. You know that they're legendary and all that, and everyone, including Manowar themselves, like to make fun about how serious and tough they actually are, and how they are the truest of the true metal warriors in the world. But I gotta be honest, the footage from that show simply amazed me, because I don't know about you, but I think it's pretty freakish that Eric Adams sounds like this, being 72 years old. No, seriously, he might be one of the best preserved voices in metal. So here's just a friendly reminder for each and every one of you to head to metalpilgrim.net and cast your vote for what you consider to be the best metal record of this year. Next week I'll also release a special video about how exactly we'll be choosing a winner, but don't wait for it. Head to metalpilgrim.net, cast your vote right now, and let the best metal album win. Cancelled for metal. One of the most discussed news, and not only of the past weeks, but of this year in general, was Knocked Loose live performance during the Jimmy Kimmel live show. So, in case you missed it, this past Tuesday, November 26th, American hardcore punk/metal band Knocked Loose performed their song Suffocate during Jimmy Kimmel's live show. And the craziest thing is that while the show was still going on, internet got simply flooded by hate comments toward Knocked Loose, metal in general, and Jimmy Kimmel himself, almost canceling the guy. So here are just a couple of my favorite ones. I was sitting on the couch with my son, who is an adolescent, waiting to see the musical guest because we like the nice music the show usually books. By the third or fourth chant from the guitars, my son was in tears. He doesn't like scary things, and quite frankly, I think that Kimmel's show and its staff should make a formal apology. So just to clarify, a regular apology would not work. It has to be a formal one. So most likely Jimmy Kimmel has to send a proper letter to pretty much every commentator. But there are more. If I have to read the lyrics, I'll just read them and not listen to someone yell them, said another keyboard warrior. Or this was not enjoyable, and you can't understand more than 5% of the lyrics. Motion doesn't not equal dancing. And I can of course go on and on with those, but here's just one more, my favorite one. How did I sing along with this? LOL, sounds just like screaming fancy to me, actually starting to hurt my ears. People who listen to this have no room to complain about crying babies or screaming 2-year-olds taking a tantrum. Haha, unreal. They call this music, Jimmy? Listen, Jimmy, formally apologize for calling this music.
I am a...
And you know what the craziest thing is? That this is actually by far not the first metal band performing at Jimmy Kimmel live show. I mean, he had Slipknot, he had Rammstein, and I'm not even counting how many times he had Metallica on, you know, and similar other bands. So this was by far not the heaviest one that has ever performed at Jimmy Kimmel Live. Yet, for some reason, people just went ballistic about it. After which Knocked Loose, who by the way are Grammy nominees for 2024 for the Best Metal Performance, said sorry not sorry, and that they will of course continue playing their music wherever they want and wherever they can propagate it. And you know what? I'm not even a fan of Knocked Loose. Like, honestly, this is not really my kind of, you know, rock and metal music, but just seeing how much it has pissed off so many makes this the most rock and roll thing ever. And of course many metalheads, including those who are not really fans of this music, started defending Knocked Loose and saying that this is exactly kind of performances that, you know, can make young boys and girls want to pick up an instrument and start a band of their own, ensuring that our favorite genre will continue striving and developing into something new on and on. Because you know what the craziest thing is? That back in the 1970s, when Black Sabbath and Judas Priest were first asked to perform at Top of the Pops, this was exactly what people said about them as well. And here we come to your favorite part of the video, a part in which we talk about 5 incredible metal releases from this week, which sadly did not get their own segments in this video, and all because of my efforts to not make it a 2-hour long one. Arch Enemy released a title track and a video for Blood Dynasty, their upcoming album out March 28th, 2025 via Century Media Records. The track delivers Arch Enemy's signature blend of catchy guitar riffs and dynamic vocals, and in all honesty, at least to me, on it, Alyssa Whiteglass delivers some of the best vocals she's ever done with the band. Overall, this track gives Arch Enemy fans exactly what they love their favorite band for, so if you're one of those, I'm sure you will absolutely enjoy it. And if you don't like this band, well, it definitely is not going to be the one to hook you. Dream Theater released A Broken Man, second single from their upcoming reunion album Parasomnia. And here's the thing, I actually did a rather long and detailed review of the song on the show a couple of days ago, so check it out if you haven't yet. But for now, I just want to say that, just as I anticipated, it is one of those tracks that definitely grows on you, making you more and more excited about the upcoming album. Metalcore legends from Boston, the band Shadows Fall, released their first new music in 13 years, and what a powerful comeback it is! In the Grey is both classic Shadows Fall sounding and modern at the same time. And unlike much new music in this genre, sounds fresh without the band trying to reinvent the wheel. Welcome back, Shadows Fall. Avantasia revealed their first single from the upcoming Here Be Dragons album, out on February 28th, 2025 via Napalm Records. Creepshow is lighthearted and very catchy, possibly one of the catchiest ones in the band's discography, yet it is still unclear whether it will be representative of the band's sound on their new record. Tremonti released the title track from their upcoming album The End Will Show Us How, out January 10th, 2025 via Napalm Records. And this one is already a 4th track available in advance of the album, on which the band once again goes in a familiar direction known to every band's fan. Yet, as always, do it masterfully, which is no surprise given the band's more than 30-year-long career. And here I simply have to remind you guys that maybe even some of these releases are already included into our metal playlist, Metal 365, which, just as a reminder, is updated every week and consists of 50 newest metal tracks. And thus is somewhat of a Billboard Top 50, but for metal. So if you still haven't added it to your Spotify or YouTube music library, you should definitely do it right after watching this video. Nicko McBrain's Final Bow. One of the saddest news, not only of this week, but possibly of 2024 overall for all the Iron Maiden fans, was the recent announcement of Nicko McBrain ending his career as a live performer together with Iron Maiden. And that the final show of the Future Past tour in Sao Paolo, Brazil, will be Nicko McBrain's final concert together with the legendary band.
But I just wanted you to see how handsome and how well I'm looking. Everything is good.
And here's the thing, as I said in my Thank You Nicko video, which I'm sure most of you watched by now, I never actually expected that these news, which we all knew were coming. I mean, come on, we all knew that this day would come sometime in the future. We yet all hoped it would come a little later, of course, but I never expected that this news would hit me that hard. And it looks like I'm by far not the only emotional one. But nevertheless, Nicko McBrain did perform his final show together with Iron Maiden just a couple of hours ago. So before we go anywhere else and before we discuss anything else, which is rather important, let's just take a look at how loved was Nicko McBrain by the Iron Maiden fanbase, which I think Brazilians have showed him quite well last night. Right at the start of the show, Bruce Dickinson of course dedicated this entire concert to the legendary Nicko McBrain. And while he of course said quite a lot of nice words about Nicko, the most important one, at least for me, was the phrase about Nicko McBrain's future in Iron Maiden. As I said before, I truly hope that everyone at Iron Maiden actually understands that at this stage of their career, Nicko McBrain for Iron Maiden is pretty much irreplaceable. At least for the fans. I don't think that anyone would easily accept a new drummer being welcomed as a permanent member into the band at the 50th year of the band's existence. And especially after the Future Past tour, which has showed how much of a warrior Nicko McBrain actually is. Pushing through the entire tour and giving all his best to all of his loyal fan base after getting a stroke a couple of months before it starts. So in my opinion, the only way for the band to continue existing and continue moving forward, and especially with all the Run For Your Lives tour madness which is about to happen next year, is for Nicko McBrain to remain the official member of the band, yet hire a live musician for all of the band's upcoming concerts. So pretty much do exactly the same thing as Judas Priest did with Glenn Tipton. And thank God, according to Bruce Dickinson, this is pretty much exactly what is happening with Nicko.
He was a drummer before I was a singer. He was a pilot before I was a pilot. And now he's not leaving the band, but he's just not playing live with us anymore.
So yeah, it looks like Nicko McBrain remains an official member of Iron Maiden and will take part in all the future recordings if there will be such, we'll hope of course. Yet still, this last concert was extremely emotional, and you can see that it was emotional not only for the fans, but for the band members themselves, who of course all hugged Nicko after the show, once again said a lot of nice words about the legendary drummer, who, as I always say, is the soul and heart of Iron Maiden. After which Bruce Dickinson simply left the floor for Nicko to enjoy his final bow and say any words he wants to the 45,000 crowd of crazy Brazilian fans. And here's the craziest thing, is that during that final bow, Nicko McBrain actually hasn't said a word. All he did was happily ran around the stage, threw some sticks and drum hats. And if you close up on those videos, you can actually see from his face that he was trying to soak in every moment of it. And while he of course tried to not showcase this as much, you can see how emotional this moment was for the legendary Nicko McBrain. But nevertheless, yes, this is it. This is the end of an era for Iron Maiden as we know it, and the end of the longest lasting lineup for this band. And as sad as I am, of course, to not, see Nicko at the future tour, I have to say that I am actually extremely happy for him to be able to be strong enough to make this decision and get the so much needed and so much deserved rest. So all hail the legendary Nicko McBrain. But anyways, what new music did you listen to this week? Please let us know in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and thank you so much for supporting me, this show, and Ukraine through this incredibly difficult time. As always, please don't forget to like this video, comment under it, spread the word about the show, share this video. I mean, come on, you know what to do. Every YouTuber asks you about exactly the same thing. So unless it's your first time on YouTube, I think you know exactly what to do. But I also wanted to point out that we, also have our Instagram, Facebook, X, Twitter, whatever, Discord communities. So if you use any of those social media platforms, also join us there as well and join the conversation there. I'll be more than happy to stay in touch even in between our YouTube videos. Thank you so much, guys, and we will prevail. Slava Ukraini!